Thanks for tuning in. I've got a clip for you from about, I don't know, 1.5 years ago on the Atheist Experience when Matt was still there. Somebody is calling in claiming that he has spoken to God and he's delivering the exchange that he had with God. He asked God a question and he's also explaining an experience that he had with God. So I do recommend that you listen to this, and I'll be back at the end with a few comments.
God is ridiculous and unbelievable to you, but he's still true.
Well,
Maybe
but you can't prove that.
That St. Paul had a vision of God, talked with God, that there are other people who have talked with God.
People have said that, yes.
There are lots of people, Oren. There are lots of people, Oren, who've claimed to talk to lots of different gods.
Well, if you would listen, you would hear somebody who did. If you'd give me a chance to speak, I would tell you of what God had to say.
Okay, Oren, you have 1 minute to tell me. Oren, you have 1 minute to tell me what God had to say.
Oren, can you take a deep breath, please? Because it sounds like you're getting quite emotional.
Okay, I'm not going to walk you outside. But okay, here's what God had to say. He said, God, why is there suffering? That is the question I always wanted to ask him. Why is there suffering? And here's what he had to say. He said that life was the greatest gift that he could give to us, but it was a terrible gift. He said he knew he had to go through this, and he knew it was really terrible. But since we have to go through it, he, God, would go through it too. So he became a man, Jesus Christ, to share it with us. He said that this life was a gift for us, a terrible gift, but we had to go through it, and so he went through it too. But he said, it doesn't last so very long, and then you're with me. He also said that if you were the only one who was lost, I would have died for you alone. And now he then he made love to me. God made love to me, entering into my body, into my blood, into my heart, into my guts, into my mind, and loving me until I almost didn't know whether I still existed. Then he lifted my soul from my body, took me up through the roof of the house, into the cosmos, past the planets, increasing in speed till we were just astronomical speeds, out of the solar system, out of the galaxy, tremendous speed. Fast, many times faster than the speed of light, until finally, ahead of me there was a cloud, and that large cloud, was God. As soon as I touched the cloud, Jesus, who I'd been talking to, released me. I tumbled into the cloud, head over heel, spread my arms wide, my spirit arms. I had a spirit body like a photographic negative. I spread my arms wide, and I tumbled, and I said, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home. I was with God, and I was home. And it was the most wonderful experience ever.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Oren. I appreciate it. Let us know when you get some evidence.
That was a lot of woo.
Yeah, I'm not going to beat up on somebody who thinks that that's evidence or thinks that that's a story that should convince anybody or whatever else. I mean, if in fact that experience had happened, cool. It's interesting that it doesn't seem to happen to anybody who can ever provide any evidence or make a cogent argument. When Oren says, when he asked God, why is there suffering? And God says, well, it's a great gift, but it's a terrible gift, but you had to go through it. Why? Why did I have to go through it? Why did I have to exist at all?
So there we are. From the way that he talks, it sounds like he really believes everything that he says, and he's obviously had some kind of experience as to whether it's really God talking to him and whether God really answered this question about suffering and why it happens. If there was something new in there, if there was something really kind of earth-shattering, some sort of new information that we've never heard before, I'd be more likely to believe that he really did ask God a question. But because every time we hear a theist or a Christian say, well, I spoke to God and this is what God says, there's absolutely nothing new or interesting in what they say. They're just regurgitating Christian doctrine. So he didn't really need to, if he's got the living God or Jesus coming to him, there's no need to ask why is there all this suffering, because Christian doctrine is there to tell you why there is the suffering. It really would be better if he asked him some other question where if he got the answer, he could relay it to people and they would be impressed and say, well, actually, I've never heard of that before. That is something new. But no, it's always the same old boring stuff. As for the rest of it, I mean, it just sounds to me like, I don't know, some complete hallucination or something. But I think Matt was absolutely right that when you talk to somebody who is so far gone into their what seemed to be like a delusional state, there's no point beating up on them. And I think he was quite right just to let him go quietly like that. Okay, I thought you would enjoy that. I'll be back again soon with another clip. Bye for now.